Where we know nothing happens by chance, that we are all here by divine appointment. I also extend this to our viewing audience. If you tuned in at this moment, we have a divine appointment. This divine appointment acknowledges our whole theme for the month is interesting. Julian, who is our videographer, gave me this book, and I already had the book by a different author, but it's Shift Happens. And when we look at what is a shift in our life, it's opening and connecting to our inner wisdom that has always been there, that has never been touched by grief, it has never given offense or taken offense. It is the place of love. So when we're looking at shifting our attitude, today is about shift your attitude. That when things come up, that we can make this shift. Beth Tabak, who is a life coach, said that she was jogging one day and that she didn't feel like jogging. She felt like her legs were lead. She felt, that kind of icky feeling. And she said that I just am not going to get through jogging with this attitude. So she said she began looking at, I love that. And that's a statement. I love that, and then you add to it. And she said, I love that when I exercise, my clothes just fit me so beautifully. I love that when I exercise, that energetically I feel better. I love, and she went on in this way, I love that, I love that, I love that. Then she got into, I love that. As I look up, I see the airplanes that are carrying these people safely to their destination. So she said, I went from myself to others. I love that when I hear the cars on the freeway, they are going to their destinations and their jobs. I love that as they go to their jobs, they're helping others find jobs. So she said, I began to open. I love that when these things happen, that it opens my awareness. And when we can make that shift into, I love that. I love that when I'm feeling overwhelmed for the moment, that I have things to do, that I'm in demand, that my life matters, that I'm into service. There are so many opportunities. I love that when the volunteers don't show up, I have skills, that I know how to do things. I love that. So as we begin to put into place energetically, I love that when I'm not understood, that there's a place in me that does understand. It is the place of spirit. I love that. When we can begin to create this conditioned reflex response, I love life. I love the energy of life. A new attitude is making that shift. It's allowing ourselves to see through the appearances, the conditions, and the effects of life. Jesus, he said it, be not conformed to the things of this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And then Paul of Corinth, he liked it so much that he said it too. You can find that verse throughout the biblical scripture. Buddha said, man, woman is the result of all that they have thought. Think about it. Man, woman is the result of all that they have thought. Where they have put their energy. Where thought goes, energy flows. Lao Tzu, if you want to walk the journey of 1,000 miles, what does it begin with? The first step. So today we take that first step, that second step. Many of us have been in metaphysics many, many years. And we plateau out sometimes. I think I've read every book, I've been to every seminar, I've heard every lecture. I know it all. But yet, is our life working in every single area of our life? Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, relationally, and financially. So as long as we are here, there is work to do. And when we are doing our work, we do not have time to judge outside of ourselves. We give our power away every time we judge outside of ourselves. Now, Robert Holden, who is from the United Kingdom, wrote the other Shift Happens. This one happens to be by James Feldman, and it's really about the mental area. And he says, no job, no money, now what? Shift happens, that we make the shift. We begin to go out of our comfort zone. We look at what makes our heart sing. We open to the miracle of life and the energy of synchronicity, because life is a beautiful series of synchronicities. Think about it, that one thing leads to another, that leads to another, that leads to another. Many people that I talked to never thought they were going to move to Palm Springs. The desert calls us. It calls us and we answer the call. If it is not right, it spits us out and we go back to from whence we came. Energetically, when we feel that call to anything and we open ourselves up to it, we are making a shift in our lives. We are going into and venturing into the unknown. And it's very easy to stand up here and talk about the known way. But the unknown, and every time I feel energetically that funny feeling in your stomach where you think, oh, I better not do that, then I know that's my signal to do it. Why am I suppressing myself and playing small? That's my triggered reflex response to go out and move into the next level, to be uncomfortable. It's not about a comfort zone. Robert Holden, who wrote Shift Happens, was also on PBS, gave a wonderful lecture, and he was sharing that in Dublin, which he lectures in quite often, that Deepak Chopra was also lecturing, and 1,000 people were stuffed into that hall. And he said about 20 minutes into his talk, there was a baby, and it was gurgling, and it was laughing, and it was doing its little baby thing, and people began to shift their attention over to the baby. And he realized he was losing his audience to a baby. So he said, "Ma'am, how old is your baby?" And she said, 10 weeks old. And he said, "Oh, your baby is precious. Boy or girl?" "It's a little boy." "Oh, that's fabulous. Would you come up and share your baby with the audience?" And she was only too happy to. You ask any new mother, right? Only too happy to. And she got up and she held the baby and she showed the baby and everybody cheered and they applauded. And they were just so happy to be there and to cheer on this little baby. And then she took her seat. And he said, now it was time to get back to my, my crummy talk. And as he said, something occurred to him. And he said, if this woman had come up here and held up a 40-year-old man or woman, would you be cheering and applauding and oohing and awing? No! Why is that? Why wouldn't you be applauding? Because something happens when you see the baby. The unconditioned response, the unconditional love of self, the opportunity that we see reflected back to us, that place in us of the innocence, of the wonder child. Remember, when the lion lies down with the lamb, a little child shall lead them. That little child within each of us, that wonder child, that energy of aliveness, that energy that knows that it is loved. My little 4-year-old grandson was 4 in March, and he came in and he said, "Mima, I'm 4 now, and the reason I'm so smart is that I go to preschool every day." I said, "Wow, that's fantastic." And his mother said, "Well, you don't go every day, you go twice a week." Well, he goes, "I go twice a week." And he was still, I said, are you still friends with your different friends, Eli and Brandon? And he said, yes, that he was. And he was talking about his little friend Eli. And he was telling me that he had a friend named Eli and he makes really bad decisions. And I said, well, we all have kind of friends like that make bad decisions once in a while. And he said, but I just don't want to give up on him. So Linda said, he's a fixer like everybody else in the family. Here is a 3-year-old at that time, seeing through to the very heart and the energy of light. And his mother was sharing with me that she was talking about something she hated. And then he said, you know what I hate, Mom? And she thought, oh, why did I even use that word? She said, what do you hate, dear? And she said, I hate it if I ever hurt anyone's feelings. So energetically, as these children are coming into the planet, these are the indigo, the crystal children. These are the children that see the light. That child is within each of us. That child, that energy, that light, that love is within each of us. And when we get in touch and somebody holds up their baby and the whole 1,000 people in unison say, oh, they are saying, ah, at themselves. The reflection of that which is within them. The disowned self is learned. The self of us that does not feel good. The self of us that judges outside. That is the conditioned self, the learned self. But the energy of spirit is like the little child, and the lion shall lie down with the lamb, and the little child shall lead them, because the little child speaks to that place of love within each of us, and each of us has that place of love. And he said, then I was doing some work at a mental health institution, and there was a young woman there, and her name was Susan. She was an attorney. This was her 4th time in. And when I passed, I saw her working on a jigsaw puzzle. And I said, oh, what are you working on? And it looks like you're almost finished. And she said, yeah, it's a puzzle, but I won't finish. And he said, well, why is that? And she said, well, there'll probably be a piece missing. He goes, oh, really? And he said he went in about his business, and he came out, and he said, saw her reading a magazine, and said, so how'd it go? And she said, fine, it went great. And he said, did you finish your puzzle? And she said, yes, I did. He said, you mean there wasn't a missing piece? And she said, no, but there usually is. And at that moment, he got it. She wasn't talking about the puzzle at all. The missing piece that was within her, that brought her back for the 4th time to this mental health institution. That she was diagnosed with non-resistant depression. And when we don't get it, that we are created in the image and likeness of God, then we resist all forms of life that allow us to feel better, because there's a missing piece within us, and that we're always looking for our missing piece outside of us until we realize it is within us. I love that if I ever feel betrayed, that there's a place in me that will never betray me. I love the fact that energetically, that as I look out into the world, I know that I am part of this world of nature and every person that I pass. That a new attitude is looking at the new things, looking at the old things with new eyes, because everything is shifting and changing every moment of our lives. And when we make that shift and we are sincere about it, we are not the way that we were, and the old paradigms and the conversations, they're not within us. Keep your conversations in heaven. What that means is speak the truth, speak it in a way that will forward and advance yourself, others, and ultimately the planet. A new attitude, shifting that attitude, is realizing that no matter how long you've been in this way of life, no matter how long you've been doing anything, this is the new moment. This is the moment that has never, ever been lived in. You take a glass of water. Technically, the glass is not half full or half empty, because half of this glass is air, and the other half is what? Water. So technically, the glass is always full. Think about it. The glass is always full. Half air, half water. The glass is always full. And as we begin to look at life with these eyes of seeing the fullness of life, experiencing the energy of life, realizing that that beautiful 10-week-old wonder child is within us, right where we are at this moment, and there is no missing piece. That's learned. We release that energy. We acknowledge together the opportunity that we have every single day of our lives as things come up, that we are going to direct our energy and begin to see it with new eyes. We get so much more done. It's amazing how that when we resist and we have that, that energy that comes up, that does not serve us. But when we let go and let God do what God does best by means of us, something begins to happen within us. Jesus was so clear about this. That's why he said, I am the resurrection and the life. That every single day of our lives is a new day, it's a new opportunity. What are we going to do with it? It's an opportunity to move beyond where we've ever been before. It's an opportunity to open to the fullness of life. It's an opportunity to go within, to that place within us, to know that yes, there are times when we're going to fall down, that we're not going to feel good about ourselves, that stuff's going to happen. But to get up, brush ourselves off, and keep on keeping on. When we do that, we expand. There's a little comic I have, and it's two caterpillars looking at this butterfly coming by. And the one says to the other, "You'll never get me up in one of those." Shift happens when we let go and let God do what God does best by means of each and every one of us who heard the call. We heard the call this morning. We answered that call. We acknowledged that call. We opened to that call. We're going to leave here and go about our Father, Mother, God's business today, energetically. And everyone that we touch is somehow going to touch us. That we're going to give over energetically that smile, that opportunity to know that you are my brother and my sister, and that I am here to fulfill that destiny of our oneness. And it doesn't mean that we're intimate with every soul on the planet, but to realize there is that within us that is greater than that which resides in the world, that absolutely connects us, that holds up the 10-week-old baby, where we can say, to remind us of our own unconditional place within us, the opportunity that we have within us. This was sent to me, and I absolutely love it, and I wanted to share it with you. Only God can turn a mess into a message, a test into a testimony, a trial into a triumph, a victim into a victory. Only God, whatever we conceive our God to be, our higher power, first cause, Father, Mother, whatever we conceive our higher power to be, to know that that energy goes before us and prepares the way. Only God can turn a mess into a message. And if it looks like a mess, it's all fallen apart so it can fall together at a higher level. Do you believe that? Yes. And when we get that when it all falls apart, this is a new opportunity and a new day. No money, no job, then what? God. Because God is bigger than all of it. I watched a documentary about Dolores Hart, who used to star with Elvis Presley, and he was madly in love with her, and she went into the convent. And we had a good laugh about it because we thought, he sent her to the convent. But she said, I had such a call. My God was bigger than Elvis. Okay. Our God is bigger than all of it. Our God is bigger than the mess. Our God is bigger than the test. Our God is bigger than anything that is going on in the outer world. Shift happens when we shift our attitude and we say, I love that I can be here with you today. I love that we can feel our oneness. I love the opportunity we have to be in balance, to share our embraces and our love. I love that. And you know what? Out of that, we are going where? Higher yet. Where are we going? Yet. Where? Higher yet. And so it is. God bless you, and I love you. And I love I'm here today.